wish for America to fail? Why would I want America to fail? I'm just asking a simple question.
Thank you. I'm
just asking a simple question. Like I don't want America to fail. I have a life here. I have businesses here. I have a family here. Why would I want America to fail?
That's why we were wondering why you were supporting Kamala.
I don't know how many times you can bury this woman, but the Democrats are going for an all-time record. Finger pointing has only escalated as Democrat panic gets worse and worse. I can only imagine what old vodka knockers Nancy Pelosi is thinking at night. But now they're floating all these crazy new ideas. Oh, well, Joe Biden should have dropped out sooner. Wrong. Actually, if they wanted to get Kamala in, Joe Biden should have dropped out later. I always said during the election coverage and everything coming up, the pre-election coverage, the more that woman talked, the better it was going to be for Trump. Why do you think she refused to go on Joe Rogan without him editing things? She refused to go on Theo Vaughn unless he would edit things. She paid $100,000 to recreate the BJ podcast, the Call Her Daddy podcast, so that she could have it under the watchful eye of her own people, and I'm sure Call Her Daddy offered her edits as well. This is absolutely bonkers to me. Bitter Pelosi now says Joe Biden should have dropped out earlier so Democrats could have an open primary. Well, gee, who would have thought the party that said democracy was on the ballot, the party that cooed President Joe Biden, the sitting president, off the ballot, suddenly now goes back and says, boy, we should have had an open ballot. We should have had an open primary. Well, pardon my old 90s reference, but no doy. This woman did not win in the primaries. She dropped out immediately. She was the least liked vice presidential candidate of all time, vice president of all time. And they thought, people will just vote for her because she's black. That's literally what they thought. By the way, don't forget to pre-order your Christmas cookbook. They're in print right now. I don't want you to miss out because I'm probably only going to do one shipment of these. If you're looking for a great Christmas gift for you or for someone you love, we obviously have our great Tailgates for Trump cookbook, but now our Christmas cookbook has 50 recipes, things like a threat to our Dumas cookies, and Big Mike's Christmas orbs, and much, much more. Make sure you pre-order that over at tailgatesfortrump.com. It's printing this week. And never forget, #NeverForgetMetaPCs is my computer sponsor. So when you're ready for a new computer, promo code quartering at metapcs.com. It's a computer I use every day. It's a laptop I use. It's a computer I recommend to family and friends because it's the best. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi continued to work her way through the stages of grief following President Kamala Harris's election loss, this time blaming President Biden for not entering his bid for a second term earlier. Had the president gotten out sooner, there may have been other candidates in the race. Who? Were you going to run Gavin Newsom? The whole world laughs at San Francisco. The whole world laughs at California. You're going to run Gavin Newsom because he's a pretty boy and was that going to be all it took? Are you joking? Who are the Democrats going to run? The anticipation was that if the president were to step aside, there would be an open primary. The 84-year-old went on, and as I say, Kamala I think she would have done well in that and been stronger going forward, but I don't know that. It didn't happen. We live with what happened, and because the president endorsed Kamala Harris immediately, that really made it almost impossible to have a primary at that time. It had been much easier. It would have been different. Biden, 81, who did not endorse Harris in his July 21st announcement that he was dropping out of the 2024 race, instead issued a second statement minutes later, giving her his seal of approval. Any idiot watching Joe Biden's reaction to Kamala Harris knows he didn't like her. He didn't want to support her. He never wanted to endorse her, and he probably voted for Trump. He probably did. I mean, everybody everywhere is burying Kamala Harris. Here's a podcast with Andrew Schulz and Democrat ball washer Charlamagne.
I supported Kamala Harris, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day because the president of the United States of America, the 47th president, is Donald J. Trump. And I said this on Breakfast Club this morning, like, you got to accept it. Are you an American?
Al walking out. Al just leaving the podcast.
Are you an American or you not an American?
Damn right I'm an American.
Why would I wish for America to fail? Why would I want America to fail? I'm just asking a simple question.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm just asking a simple question. Like, I don't want America to fail. I have a life here. I have businesses here. I have a family here. Why would I want America to fail?
That's why we were wondering why you were supporting Kamala. No. That's why we didn't understand it. We're like, why is this guy throwing so much support her way?
Listen,
when I know that he's a patriot, when I know he's a great man, I know that he wants America to win.
Listen, everybody votes for their interests. I have interest.
Yeah. How much were you paid? How much were you paid? Then, of course, Bernie Sanders made comments about the Democrats, and old vodka knockers got upset about that, too. Nancy Pelosi slammed Bernie Sanders for his claims that the Democrats have abandoned working-class families as the blame game over Kamala Harris's presidential election loss continues to ramp up. The newly elected Vermont senator said in a statement that Donald Trump sailed to victory. It should come as no great surprise that the Democratic Party, which has abandoned the working-class people, would find that the working class people has abandoned them. Of course, right? Then, of course, Nancy Pelosi has a meltdown. Let me, with all due respect, and I have a great deal of respect for him and for what he stands for, but I don't respect him saying that the Democratic Party has abandoned working class families. That's where we are. Wrong. You did abandon working class families. You chose that you wanted to be the party of gender ideology. You want to be the party of biological men in women's restrooms. All of the mudslinging has begun, by the way. Democrat insiders begged Kamala Harris not to campaign with war pig Liz Cheney. People don't want to be in a coalition with the devil, says a Democratic source who was appalled by Kamala Harris's embrace of Dick Cheney. I mean, desperation is a stinky cologne. You see here, Bill Maher pans media's excuses for Kamala Harris's defeat. America just didn't like her. They didn't like her in the primaries. Any idiot knew that they didn't like her.
Joining me now, Mary Catherine Ham, Fox News contributor, and Alex Marlow, Breitbart editor-in-chief, host of the Alex Marlow Show. Mary Catherine.
During Friday night's overtime segment, ABC News contributor Sarah Isker argued that Harris was set up to fail by Democrats when she was tasked to run a 3-month campaign and was supposed to introduce herself to the American people. Everyone knew who she was. She was already the VP. You're saying 3 months wasn't long enough, Maher said. It was long enough. It's not that they didn't have time to introduce her. They met somebody that they did not like. MSNBC analyst John Heilemann also offered a defense of Harris, arguing that she was in a difficult position being the vice president of somebody as unpopular as President Biden. Bill, I don't know if you know this, but the vice president of the United States is basically shoved in a broom closet for 3.5 years, he said. I know she was more popular in there, Mark quipped. The idea that the mass media age, that 107 days is not long enough to know somebody is insane. Moments later, Maher turned to his audience and asked whether or not they didn't know enough about Harris, pretty much after a week to make the decision. It's ridiculous, Maher exclaimed. We just got sicker of her. Why do you think we had to make all these excuses for her, Maher said. All of it this week was, oh, she ran a flawless campaign. How ridiculous. Or it's sexism or it's racism. The same old playbook. I didn't say any of this, Heilemann pushed back. I know, but I heard it. Maher said, I think America perfectly was willing to elect a woman. They just didn't like the last two. I mean, you had Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris, two deeply unlikable women. I firmly believe the first female president will be a Republican, by the way, who wears dresses and not pantsuits. Democratic Party now begins to implode as Nancy Pelosi strikes back at Bernie Sanders over criticism of Kamala Harris's loss. They're all blaming each other. Well, it's because this loss is on Kamala Harris. Nancy Pelosi. It was Nancy Pelosi's idea to coup out President Joe Biden. Now, do I think Joe Biden was beating Donald Trump? No, I don't. But I knew at the time that Kamala Harris wasn't beating him either. So why even bother cooing him out? Hoping, you think people are so stupid that they're going to be like, oh, she's black Joe Biden. Yeah, I'm definitely going to vote for her now. I mean, this is the same establishment that is literally floating. I've got it covered in another video today, that Joe Biden should step down just so Kamala Harris can be the first woman president. What a cop-out. How could you not see that as extraordinarily embarrassing? Like, oh, she didn't earn it, so they want Joe Biden just to step down? What? Here you have the Harris campaign paid Oprah $1 million for a single interview. She spent $100,000 billing the setup Call Her Daddy so Kamala Harris wouldn't have to fly out to LA to film it. I mean, what did you expect? Everybody is coming out of the woodwork now to absolutely bury this woman. If you go and you just look at, I'm going to look at Kamala Harris. Let's look at the headlines right now for today. Now I'm filming this Sunday afternoon. You see how Kamala Harris and Joe Biden lost to Donald Trump and left the Democrats in shambles. I spent hours trying to persuade U.S. voters to choose Harris, not Trump. I know why she lost. What's next for Kamala Harris? I don't know. Probably a big, $20 million a year contract in HBCU. James Carville, who, by the way, predicted a Kamala Harris landslide, says Kamala Harris' failed campaign could be reduced to Sonny Hostin's single question on The View. Kamala Harris' Michigan loss despite Democrats' weak spots. Every single article is just blaming this on Kamala Harris. But the fact of the matter is this woman was deeply unlikable. They knew it and they ran her anyway. The Democratic Party now finds itself gripping with how it lost so definitively and how it so thoroughly misunderstood the American electorate. I mean, they keep doubling down on this crap. They keep doubling down on it. And by the way, here's what Kamala Harris is doing. She's sharing pictures of herself playing Connect 4 and drinking wine. You know why? She was never going to be president. She never wanted to be president, I don't think. And she's relieved. Well, I mean, she probably wanted to be president, but she's deeply relieved. The media itself is just, the Democrats, the media, everyone's acting like they didn't all participate in this coup to get rid of Joe Biden, and that it's all Kamala Harris's fault. She was who we thought she was. It's like the old Bears head coach. I don't remember who that was, but like she was who we thought they were. Who, we knew, everybody knew that she was garbage, and they tried to instead call Americans garbage and hope that that was going to get her into office. Well, I, for one, am absolutely happy that the Democrats are in shambles. I, for one, am absolutely hopeful that they continue this downward spiral for, I don't know, about the next 12 or 16 years. So perhaps we can get this country back on track. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe or follow down below. We'll talk to you again real soon.